Hello, welcome back to Give Her the Mic. You have Kristen and Chloe, your favorite co-host of our podcast, and we're going to talk about one of my personal and your personal favorite things, which is wellness.
I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh.
I'm literally so excited.
And so the title is, which I love the title because I love a catchy title, is In Sickness and in Health, our wellness journey. Because
we're going to talk about when we were sick.
Yes.
When we were not well.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about, 2025 and how we are well now.
Yeah. And really last year, I feel like both of us really, we'll get into that, but I was just starting to see actually my functional medicine doctor and because even since we started talking again, I lost like 35, 40 pounds and got super healthy, clearly super healthy. I'm very healthy right now. And so, let's kind of open it up with unhealthy patterns, like how they're created and, things that we both noticed that we needed to change pretty quickly. Because it's easy when you're unhealthy to be in not easy. It's not easy. When you're unhealthy, inflamed, all that, it's actually very cloudy.
Yes.
So do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I know that I don't remember which episode it was on, about something that happened to me when I was 12, when I was with my mom. I did talk about that, right? About how the doctor. So my eating habits really, truly started when I was 12. My unhealthy eating patterns. I struggled a lot with anorexia. And binge eating most of my life.
Yeah, same.
Body dysmorphia, all of those things. And those unhealthy habits obviously were formed when I was very young. Thankfully, during my high school years, I remember I didn't struggle with them as much, but it was because I was pretty much like playing soccer, in sports constantly. I really had to have the protein, things like that. Like I'll look back at my body back then, and I was bigger than I was now, but I was all muscle. Like I was in great shape back then. But even after that in college, and especially in my marriage, I really struggled with my eating patterns for sure. I would binge a lot when I was married, and I remember I was obviously probably 20 pounds heavier than I am right now. And I've had an unhealthy situation with eating most of my life until probably 4 years ago, I would say, maybe 3 years ago.
I still struggle with food every day.
Yeah. I mean, and I can still see now, like if I go through something though, I really have to check myself.
Yeah.
I really have to check myself because it was my life for so long. But now I truly letting that go is probably one of the most freeing things. Like the body dysmorphia is one of the biggest ones. I remember letting that go and just feeling like no matter what my body has looked like my entire life, like I was so beautiful still. And truly feeling that and knowing like when I look in the mirror now, even when I'm bloated, even when I'm this, even when I'm that, like I am God's child and I am truly beautiful inside and out. And letting that energy go. I know so many women still carry that every day. Like, I don't look good. I don't feel good. Like I'm uncomfortable. All those things. Like
I do every day, and
letting that go is such a good freeing feeling because to me, like you are the most important person in your life. Correct? Like you are the most important person in your life. So by telling yourself those things, like that's never going to help you. Yeah. So like telling yourself the good. Anywho, I went out on a tangent there. But it's so, it's so hard, man, when you're like, when it's been ingrained in you for so long, especially in the environment too that you're in.
Yeah. So I love that we're opening it up with this because so our moms also are drop dead gorgeous.
Beautiful.
And I mean,
absolutely beautiful.
My biological mom, my stepmom looks like my sister, but like my bio mom and Kristen's, she only has one mom. Her mom, like they're gorgeous human beings. Yeah. I'm sure your mom had high-waisted shorts on, all the things when you were young, just beautiful.
Yeah.
And so I was around a mom that was teeny tiny. Yeah. My mom also still has like fake boobs, just looked really beautiful. And my dad is like, short and stocky. And so muscular. So I always had my dad's body and which is a wonder. I mean, my dad had, muscles
You're so lucky.
every day over everything. So But growing up, I always was like, gosh, my mom is 5'9". She's super slender.
Your mom is 5'9".
Uh-huh. Yep.
I did not know we were the
Yep.
same
5'8",
height.
5'9".
That
Yeah.
is wild.
And so whenever I got really when I started probably having boyfriends is when I started having eating issues, because I could not eat a lot for a day or two and like physically like lose weight. And so for me, it was kind of like, I didn't even see it as a issue, because I was like, this is cool. You know, when you're a teenager, you're like, whatever. And then I cheered. And so with cheer, we're running a lot. And I was not concerned with muscle at all. I was just concerned with being small.
Yeah.
And so I had to fit into like a cheerleading uniform and all the things. And then once I started dating in high school is when it got really bad, my body issues. Because I mean, all my friends were beautiful. They were all small. My boyfriend at the time was really popular, who's my husband now, which is so crazy. But yeah, like I had a typical, like, I was very popular too in high school. And I think all these things go into play with how you look in your features. And so, you know, also during this time, right when I got into high school, you got to think I was 14 and boom, first abortion right then and there. So that really made me have like, you know, shame and all these things I've healed from now. But then when I had that abortion, then had the second one, not even a year later, I could control the food. And also I was in a chaotic environment, which you were too. And, and then y'all moved to Texas right after that. So yeah, like I think it is important before we get into all the wellness stuff and how we take care of ourselves now to look at like,
how did it start?
Yeah.
How did it begin? Because if you don't truly know how it started, or like be super honest with yourself, like you'll never get to the place where you need to be.
Yeah.
Truly.
And I mean, even now, like, so when I had Cece, you know, I got really sick and then we stopped talking, and then I was just really like going through it emotionally, and I didn't go into therapy until 2021. So all of 2020 is when I really like derailed, and I had never been, I mean, you got to think like I was 100 and
you're tiny. You're not like 5'9" like me.
No,
like you're tiny.
I gained 5 pounds and it's an issue. You can tell. So I was like 125 my whole 20s. And then when I have CC, I'm 192 after. Like that's the weight. You know what I mean? And then the lowest I could get was 178. And so I now have body dysmorphia.
Of course, from that.
Of being big.
Yeah.
So then for 4 years,
and you've probably never been big your whole life until then.
I'd never had to worry about,
fitting into stuff.
Yeah, like I never had to worry about fitting into bras.
Yeah.
I never had to worry about putting jeans on. And so it really messed me up. And even to this day, like I still, it's a big issue for me. Like I'm going to be very open and transparent. I definitely have body dysmorphia. You go from being as overweight as I was for that amount of years when your whole life you were small. I think people have to be honest with themselves and go, look, this is a journey for me that I'm still on.
100%.
Because there are a lot of people right now on their wellness journey that are losing weight, and it's going to take you guys a long time to get comfortable in your own skin and to feel good. Because then when you lose all that weight, like there's things that are like saggy on me now that I've never had to worry about. And I've told Kristen so many times, like, I hate myself in bathing suits. I remember looking at myself in the mirror when I was super overweight in like 2022 and 2023 when I was in therapy, but just really overweight, really unhealthy. We'll get into that in a little bit, but I didn't have the health answers. I was working out every day, doing carnivore diet, doing organic, you know, all the supplements too that I take, and nothing was working. And I would just look in the mirror and the enemy would be like, you're so ugly. You're so fat. Like you're gross. Like it was awful. It was so bad. And so I'm so thankful to be on the other side of that. But I feel like there's so many women right now that are struggling with like inflammation. Hormone imbalance. So, you know, things like that. So yeah, let's like get into it. Should we start with like the food is fuel and mental health stuff?
Yeah.
Let's go there.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah. I mean, I think for me, food wise,
we're very healthy people, which I love.
Yes.
That's important.
My body does not like a lot of sugar, does not like a lot of different things.
Carbs.
And a lot of carbs that take a long time to break down in my system. And I still, even now, if I eat them, I feel terrible, just terrible. And I think just retraining your brain to think like food is supposed to be fuel. That's what it's on this earth for.
Like you're supposed to eat. You're not supposed to not eat.
No, you're not supposed to not eat. You're not supposed to not eat.
Right.
You're literally not. You're like, I always tell, I have my younger son, Beckett. He's 15.
Love him.
He's so sweet. He is 6'2" and he weighs 260. He is a big boy. But he, one time at football, he like came to the fence and his face was like gray. He said, Mom, I don't feel good. And, me being who I am, I'm like, baby, like, what did you eat today? Like, have you had water, whatever? And he's like, no, I didn't. And then he almost passed out. And I was like, Beckett, you're not like a normal car. You're a Mack truck.
Yeah, he needs
like
electrolytes.
You need extra food. You need extra.
He needs a ham sandwich.
But you got to be kind to your body. You got to eat. And you got to put the right things in it so that you can truly feel good.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Like food is fuel.
Yeah, and I love food. I'm like you. Like we love to cook. Well, I don't love to cook. You love to cook. I love to eat, but
you're doing a great job. I think.
I love yogurt and fruits and things like that, and that is it does take a lot of training because for your brain. Because you said growing up, your mom was pretty healthy, and I mean she has like a full garden. Like Pam is like
yeah.
And for me growing up, a lot of people I feel like can relate to this. When you go to a split home, instantly there's not home cooked meals. It's like the Stouffer's Salisbury steaks. If y'all know what I'm talking about, you put them in the oven. You don't even probably know what that is, girl.
No.
But they're like these frozen Salisbury steaks.
Sounds delicious though.
It was, but not healthy. But like we were eating that. I was eating Vienna sausage. Like, I was binge eating a lot at a young age. This is like 10 years old. And so then like, I also know on the gut, like when you don't eat healthy, like growing up, it starts to affect you and you can't. So I remember after having Cece, I was like, I'll be good. I'll just literally, and I'm just going to be transparent. I was like, I'm just going to get on Adderall and I'll lose weight. It's worked before. I'll just get back on my Adderall. You don't think
I ever used to take laxatives back in the day to try to lose weight?
I know you do.
People used to do that.
You still struggle with that today.
What, laxatives?
Like, not laxatives, but you'll be like,
oh, yeah,
maybe I
gut.
should take Miralax. Maybe I should.
Well, if I don't,
But there's habits we have.
Yes, well, that's true, yes.
That are going to take years to like undo because when you're also we have on here traumatic environments and traumatic things on the body, we're going to instantly go to, okay, what's comfortable or okay, what's this? And so for me, after I was taking Vyvanse, after I had CC, and me and you had stopped talking, I was like, I'll be good. I'm going to take this Vyvanse and lose weight. And I wasn't losing any weight. I was actually gaining weight. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to eat even less because that'll work. It's worked before, and not being in therapy, not having healthy eating habits in general, and not having a healthy mental state, all those things. I started becoming really down on myself, but I was working out all the time. I had trainers during this time. I was seeing a guy named Skylar Woolard, who a lot of people know as Bearded Barbell, best strength trainer in my opinion in Greenville. He's incredible. And I was working out hard with him and I was gaining weight. And I mean, I was wearing girl belly binders every day for a whole year and a half. That's how uncomfortable I was with my body. And, but I was right. And this is the problem too I have, which is why when we talk about functional medicine and medications, the stuff I've been on, I'm an advocate for that because women are just out here bashing each other saying like, you should just be able to eat healthy or you should just be able to work out. And that's not always the case. No. And we want women to feel comfortable knowing, no, this is a journey for all of us specifically.
And whatever works for you works for you.
Yeah. And if something's not working, like, And
no one should judge you for what works for you.
Right.
Ever.
Right. And it took me a while to be like, okay, I need to get on semaglutide until right after me and you started talking again.
Yeah.
I was like.
Well, we've been in environments and situations where she spoke about it honestly and people have been terrible.
Dude, I forgot.
So judgmental.
I forgot about that.
So terrible. And I'm just like.
That was awful.
That to me, any kind of conversation like that where you're telling someone like what you're doing for you to make yourself better and someone is judging you and like saying pretty much the opposite, that to me is the weirdest conversation because I would never, I'm the friend and the person in this world. If you like it, I love it for you. If
Right.
you like
Dude,
it, if it's good for you, I love it for you.
As long as it's not, you're an alcoholic or you're doing heroin and cocaine.
Why are we judging
If you're
people?
doing some hardcore drugs, we're going to have a freaking conversation.
Of course we are.
You know?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like, and so.
I mean, and that's, I really want you to talk about, I'm so excited, about leptin levels.
Yeah.
Please talk about those.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about those because that was something that when Chloe and I started talking again, she was telling me about, and it is crazy when, like we've talked about, when you're in a toxic environment, how inflamed your body can truly get, like outside of what your natural body shape is. And it could be that you're eating completely healthy. Ooh, sorry. Josh is our wonderful guy here. And I am like this. Everyone asks me if I'm Italian. I'm not. I'm French.
Me too. I talk with my hands all the time too.
I can't help it. I feel so close. But anywho, like, I don't even know what the heck I was saying now.
Like how your body can get so inflamed.
You're not even in your natural body anymore. Like you look like a different freak. You look like you've been on steroids for a decade.
I looked like I looked so sick. Like I look back at videos and that I was doing for my team and stuff. And I was like, I know for damn sure if me and you were friends, you would have been like, hey, what? No, like stop doing videos, stop training your team, stop dying on the cross for these people that clearly don't care about you and your well-being.
Yeah. No.
And get healthy. But, you know, the enemy takes what he can take, and he took over both of us that year in those couple years. And so, yeah, I literally was like doing everything from 2021 to 2023, the end of 2023. And I was so discouraged because I was, again, like wearing these like binders on me and like couldn't wear regular bras and like literally could not lose weight. And you know, like I strength train, like I work out.
Oh, yeah.
And I do the things just like you. Like, it would be like you doing cardio and then working out consistently 4 days a week and you're gaining weight. It made no sense.
I would be very confused.
I ended up finding a functional medicine doctor in Raleigh, and the labs that they got were insane. There were all these labs I'd never got tested. Hormones.
Because most people don't get labs. Most people don't even have a PCP in general, let alone get labs checked.
No, and like I had a PCP, but literally they would be like, oh, it's fine. Like, here's your Vyvanse, bye. Like, there was no like, let's look in to figure out what is going on. You know, they're not listening, a lot of these primary care doctors. And let's be honest, we could do
a whole podcast just about that.
We live in Eastern North Carolina. We live in a place where they treat the symptom. They don't want to cure anything.
No.
Cure means no money.
Yes.
No money means they're out of jobs, which in reality, if we could get functional medicine up and going in Greenville and all over the world, there would be jobs and people would have vitality, which is what I've achieved. And so, like I got these labs back, and I remember getting this level back called a leptin level, which is what you wanted me to talk about. And what a leptin level is, it's different than heparin and norepinephrine. It's different than cortisol levels. This level is like binded to your fight or flight hormone response. And when you are in fight or flight for a significant amount of time, whether it be environmental or internal trauma, which I had both from a young age, you know, you got to think from 9.
For sure.
So at this point, I'm 31. So from 9 to 31, I'd been in fight or flight. Got on Adderall at 17. I feel like this is a lot of women's stories just not talked about. Got 100%. On Adderall at 17. Which helps a lot. It helps with depression, by the way, and anxiety. You know that. You're on a low dose of Vyvanse. And
Hell yeah, I am.
Yeah, and so am I. And so it's wonderful until it's not, or it gets, you know, it becomes like, you know, I thought that was just going to help get me through, and it wasn't. And so I had been in this chronic state of stress, and so my body started shutting down. And my leptin level was 42. It's supposed to be
normal?
Less than 14 or 15. Now it's like 4. Mine is like 4. And so I went into the doctor's office, and I'll never forget sitting down with Ben, our doctor, and he was like, it doesn't matter how much you work out or what you do. He was like, you're never going to lose weight, because until this level is under, like, it's like quadruple what it should be or triple. He was like, it's just never, this is why. And I just remember sitting there, and I was like, Thank
all
you, God,
makes
because
sense.
I did not want to be alive anymore. I was so discouraged and so depressed, and I felt bad, and it was hard for me to work.
Yeah.
And I also was being rang around and rang ragged in my business, and I just could not handle it. And so immediately I was like, okay, what do I need to do? And so I first got on berberine, which is a more natural supplement, didn't work. Then I tried metformin, killed me, got off that. And then he was like, okay, semaglutide is going to do the trick. And I was super nervous because of just what people have said about GLP-1s. Now I'm not. I'm big girl advocate for that. Big girl advocate for GLP-1s. Also my fasting sugar was super high. My hemoglobin A1C was almost diabetic. Like everything was shutting down. And so I got on that medication, and you've watched my whole body transform, and also getting on injectable peptides, getting on tesamorelin. I started that in October with the semaglutide because the semaglutide it can kind of make you depressed and make you not feel great. And you remember those few weeks I was in bed. And so once I got on the peptides, I think that's important too, like reaching back out to your functional medicine doctor. Number one, find a functional medicine doctor. They're out there. Number two, if you're on a GLP-1 medication, if you don't feel good, if you feel sluggish, peptides are the trick. That's the biohack. And so literally I started just those two together. I was feeling great, feeling good. My biological age when I started was in the 40s. My biological age 3 weeks ago was 14 years old. And so I've achieved that. So yeah, anyways, I'm going to let you talk. But
I know. I just really wanted you to talk about.
I can't wait for you to go to my doctor.
I know.
So you can get your hormones checked.
I need to get my hormones checked. I mean, I'm 42 years old.
Yeah.
You know? Well, hopefully they'll check them in a couple of weeks when I go. But what else are we talking about? Oh, I mean, what's your... How do you feel when you wake up in the morning? That's like literally...
Oh, yeah. I feel great now. I used to...
Me too.
I didn't get out of bed for the whole year of 2020.
Oh, yeah.
Physically couldn't move.
I remember being so depressed that when I got out of bed, I couldn't wait to get back in.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I have to do this again today. I have to go back to the hospital. Like, I have to do this.
Yep.
And I don't think a lot of people talk about, like, when you're going through something like, you know, being in such a bad state, you know, emotionally, physically, and just on all the ways, like, especially as moms and as providers, like, we still have to show up.
Yeah.
And you're over here just like going through it, you know? But eventually you really do have to stop and be like, what do I need to do to take care of myself? Because what do we say? Put the oxygen mask on. Like, you literally cannot take care of anyone else unless you are taking care of yourselves.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, this is really sad, but I was depressed for a long time, for years after my divorce. And I remember my son coming in the kitchen and just having an honest conversation with me. And it was the hardest conversation I've ever had. He was so upset, so frustrated, so angry with me for not like really showing up for him the way that I should have as a mom. I gave myself so much grace for that because I was not okay. But at that moment, that's when everything changed. Like, I literally, the next day was like, I have to move differently. Even that night, like, I sat in my bed and cried for so long because it hurt hearing who I was at that moment. But I needed to hear that so that I could do the things that I had to do to get healthy for my children too, not just for myself first.
Yes.
But, you know, your kids and your family and everybody around you, they deserve the best version of you.
Right.
You do first, but they do too.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
like your
so
kids,
true.
they just, especially when you're raising your kids by yourself, like, they don't have anybody but you.
Yeah.
So you deserve to get better for them, you know?
Yeah. And I love though that you took that conversation, because you could have taken it and have been like, you know,
worse off.
He doesn't understand or he's a kid. Because I feel like a lot of times with kids, like as mothers, we're that mentality sometimes of like, they're just a kid, but also you recognize your kids are growing up into young adults, and you took that as like their concern. This is a 911. And I'm sure you saw pictures of me and you were concerned.
Yeah.
I know I saw pictures of you and reached out.
Oh, yeah.
And I was concerned.
Yeah.
And so I think I have so much respect. I probably know which kid it is that you're talking about, but that he said that to you because that was God, like saying, hey, 911, 911, 911.
Yeah.
And we've got to live for them. It's not just about us, you know? And when we have kids, you know, it's about not being perfect. Yes, giving ourselves grace, but going, it's never too late, which we've talked about in the other episodes. And I feel like so many people right now are like at a dead end and they feel like there's nothing they can do for their health. And it's like, no, like Google functional medicine doctors. You have a great doctor here. And I always tell you that. I'm like, if you didn't have your doctor, I would send you to mine right now.
Well, and I think we should talk about that too. So like having a good doctor,
you need a good doctor.
Versus, like he sits there and he listens, he takes his time. He asked me about like how my life is in general. Like he wants to know, he cares. Most doctors, they don't even look at you when they walk in the room. You know, I had an ortho doctor back in the day literally walk in and say, get on the bed. It's like, you get on the bed. Like, what are we doing here? You know, so it's so important to have someone that you truly do trust. And it might not be a functional medicine, but if you have a PCP, whatever, like make sure that that's somebody that really wants you to be your best too.
Yeah, and
most people aren't in it for, you know, people in healthcare. They're in it for something completely different.
Yeah, which is so crazy because it's called health care. But it's like, just, I know this from being a nurse before, and you're a nurse now, like, it's not preventative medicine, it's treat a symptom. And
it is treat a symptom.
And it's really sad, and we live in a really sick world, and it's like you have these young women that are our age, like we are young, 30s and 40s are young. You have their hormones shutting down, their bodies shutting down.
Can't have babies, like all the things.
Can't have babies.
No.
And even people, like if I went to a normal doctor, they never would have given me semaglutide.
No.
Even though
I have friends that cannot get it no matter what they do.
And this is why, yes, find another PCP, but if your PCP is going to follow a damn checklist
then don't.
and not hear you, you need to invest and save your money and invest and go see functional medicine because they are going to test, to treat, to cure.
Yes.
Like literally these doctors, these functional medicine doctors, I've never experienced anything like it. Like when I sat down with Ben the first time, my health history took an hour. He asked me about everything, my childhood, my parents, my mom, her life, asked about my work environment, asked about my home environment, asked about like my mentality, how I think, because that's important. Like if you're type A and a super overachiever, it's going to increase your leptin levels and your cortisol levels.
Of course.
If you are super athletic and have a fast metabolism, it's going to affect your hormone levels.
Big time.
There's actually premenopausal care you should be doing right now that you don't know about because normal doctors aren't talking about it, that functional medicine doctors are doing to help you like thrive right now and prevent you from going into menopause.
Yeah, because what people don't talk about in your early 40s is how tired you are. And you know it's your hormones.
And
and sleep. There's so many things that change when you're in your early 40s.
Well,
it's
and
wild,
I'm just gonna say it, like not having regular periods. This is an issue that you have all the time, and it really concerns me. And I'm like, I bet there's a ton of other women out there that are not having regular periods, and this should be a 911. And that's what started all those issues with that one doctor. And he was like, let's put her on birth control. You want to talk about that? Not the person, but
yeah, I went to a OBGYN because I had been bleeding for 2 months. And I'm very regular. Like I'm like fertile myrtle, like very regular periods, have been most of my life, very heavy periods, but you know, very regular. I've been bleeding for 2 months and I go in there and number one, he just like, he kept telling me, and I mean, we're just very honest on this podcast. He kept telling me that I was bleeding because I was wearing tampons. Okay, you're bleeding because you're wearing tampons. I'm like, homie, I've been wearing tampons my whole life. Like, this has nothing to do with this, okay? And then I had to fight for him to truly, like, get to the cause of it. So then he wants to put a Band-Aid on it, of course, and he gives me birth control. Mind you, my tubes have been tied now for 15 years. And I understand I had a cyst. They had to figure out how to, like, you know, make the cyst stop bleeding and blah, 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 blah. But I also went to other appointments with him. And when I tell you that man talked in circles and at one point, and I was by myself, I've been a single woman for a long time. I go to everything on my own. I looked at him and as a nurse, I had to ask him, are you telling me I have cancer?
Yeah.
Because I didn't understand what he was saying and I'm a nurse.
Yeah.
Like that's not okay. You know, they just...
So you took the birth control because you're like,
and then I
you're
stopped
the doctor
it myself.
though. Right.
Yes, I took myself off the birth control because I started feeling, finally I stopped bleeding. So a couple days later, I was like, I'm going to wean myself off this because I do not feel good.
The side
Like,
effects
I don't
of birth
feel
control
good at
are
all.
horrendous.
And I'm very cautious about medications I take a ton of vitamins, but I don't take a lot of medicines because I'm very sensitive to them. And I did not like the way it made me feel. And when I went back into the office and told them, Chloe was there, that I had taken myself off the birth control, they made me feel like I was an idiot. Like I had literally broken the rules.
A little baby child. They
were so mad at me and they were like, why would you do that? Why? And I'm like, why wouldn't I do that?
Yeah.
I'm confused. I'm not bleeding anymore. And also, I called them multiple times when I was bleeding very heavily and I was very concerned because my blood pressure had dropped and I felt terrible. They literally acted like I was about to go to the hospital and get a blood transfusion.
I was very
I thought
concerned.
I was going to pass out.
So
it was bad. It's just, we have to, like, literally when I'm looking at this, I'm just keep thinking like you, number one, have to advocate for yourself.
Yes, if you don't feel right, listen
every
to
single
it.
day, advocate for yourself and for your health and what you need inside and out. Because no one else is going to.
Yeah.
They're not going to. No one is going to take care of you but you.
And that's why you even asked me to go to that appointment because you felt so uncomfortable because they weren't listening to you amongst other things, which we're not going to get into
we're not
on
legally.
today's podcast, but we will one day about that situation. But I know for a fact you've talked about your primary care to your primary care doctor and he's aware. And I know you're going to advocate to get your hormones tested and all those things, but.
Well, I have a new doctor now in just a couple weeks. Thank goodness, and that's the thing. Like, you can't stop advocating for what your body needs. Well, I could just go 2 years and not get anything done and just hang out. But like, why would I do that?
But here's the thing. You want to have another kid. If you start going into early menopause though, and this is what's going on with women. This is realistically, if you don't get your hormones figured out or even know what they are, right? Yeah. And you said they're going to test them soon, which I'm so happy about that.
Yeah.
Like, you could potentially never have a child because you get thrown into early menopause due to stress on the body, things not right, because we know as women in our bodies when something's not right. We know when something doesn't feel right. We know when something is off.
And I asked that doctor to check my hormones and he said no twice.
Yeah, because
I asked him to check my hormones. I am 42 years old. Why wouldn't you check my hormones?
And if you're bleeding so irregular like that, hormones should be tested and checked and all those things. And so, it's just like, I feel like as women, we're just getting ignored a lot of times at the doctors. And so, like, if you don't feel right, listen to it, fight to find a doctor that's going to listen to you, that's going to respect you, that's going to fight for you. And I know me and Kristen, both as nurses, that's one thing that we are big on is advocating. And you do have to advocate for yourself because if I never would have went to this doctor, I would have drove myself just round and round and round and round. And you, like, the numbers don't lie. These levels in our bodies that normal doctors are not testing. Like, I didn't even know what leptin was and didn't learn about it in nursing school. I'm sure you didn't either. No. And that's one of the most crucial levels that also, if you don't get treated, can cause inflammatory diseases and autoimmune diseases.
I bet.
And look at how many women right now are getting autoimmune diseases. Right?
Oh,
like, it's crazy. And so, I'm like a big wellness girl. Like, I do NAD spray. I go to Prime MD in Raleigh because I know some of y'all are going to ask. That is where I go. But I use NAD spray. Kristen uses my NAD spray sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
That's like a super, super supplement. I did my Dysmorphia peptides. I love peptides. Big advocate for peptides. I want Kristen to get on them one day. There's just so many things out there that I feel like too, as the time goes on now, like, this is the era of vitality. I can feel it, and that women are going to step into that body, mind, and soul, because we do need to, there's so much that we're responsible for and that we have to.
And we're women.
Take care of.
Like, we are emotional creatures. We have to take care of so many things. Like, we wear so many hats every single day. And we have a lot on our shoulders.
Yeah.
And like you said, the autoimmune thing is so real right now. And if you don't deal with it, Like it's
and it's from inflammation. And look, even since COVID, because COVID does what? It literally like causes you to become super inflamed. So I forgot to say that I got COVID in 2020 and then again in 2022. So I feel like that kind of spiraled everything, because you know how hard it was to come back from getting COVID.
Oh yeah, I had it 3 times.
You just felt terrible, man.
Yeah, it was bad.
And so, yeah, like I love too that like me and you are both on the same, same kind of mindset of like, and that's important too. Like if the people you're hanging around, this is my pet peeve, are like, oh, you're beautiful just the way you are. I had so many people tell me that in 2021, 22, and 23. I can guarantee you, Kristen Phillips she would have been like, hey, we have got to get you right. You're not right. No. You're not okay.
Because you weren't yourself.
Yeah. You know? I wasn't. And
like if people aren't themselves, like you should, as a friend, as a loved one, like you should be trying to actively help them.
Yes.
To be the best version of themselves.
Yes. So don't listen to those people.
No.
If you feel bad and you don't feel like yourself, you need to seek help from your PCP. If they're not going to listen to you, find another one, keep searching. And if you can't find a PCP that's going to listen to you, I'm going to say invest, put it on a credit card. I mean,
do what you got to do. You might not be here tomorrow.
It's life or death.
Yeah, it is life or death.
Like find a functional medicine doctor and get right. Get on a GLP-1 or peptides or whatever it is you need to get on, because like it's just not worth it. And I feel so good now. Like I tell you all the time, like I feel like a totally different person. And when you are inflamed and cloudy, you do settle for less. You do settle for shittier relationships.
100%.
You do settle for letting people walk all over you. Yep. But now that I've stepped back in, I'm like, girl, bye. I don't even need.
Look good, feel good. Do not mess with my energy one bit, because I love this energy in this piece right here. You just stay away. Exactly. No, and they will try. But no, it's not.
It's so great. And even down to like our skincare and us taking care of our faces. Like me and Kristen are big skincare people. Honestly, I love Botox. I don't really care what people think about that. I love some Botox.
I just think that anybody should do whatever they want to do to feel better. Like I literally please go get a butt lift if you want, but don't do it in Mexico. I had to take care of a patient one time who did that.
Oh yeah, don't.
It was the worst thing that I ever saw in my life, her booty afterwards.
Yeah.
But like if you feel good about it, and then do it. And people are always gonna talk. They're always gonna have something to say, but they don't live in your body. Only you do.
Yes.
And only you do for the rest of your life.
And what matters is how you feel. And y'all even may look at Kristen and like, I've always thought you're so beautiful. But now I look and I'm like, you are so like less inflamed now, because when you were married and in that trauma, you were super inflamed.
Yeah, big time.
You had what's called cortisol face.
Yep.
I had it too,
where
your face is where your face is like boxy.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's not healthy. And too many women are walking around and they're carrying their babies on their hip. I saw a girl the other day when I was eating breakfast and I was like, gosh, she looks so sick, man. And she was like talking to me and my husband, and she was like, I'm going to go. I was going to eat breakfast here, but I decided to get a coffee. And I was like, damn, I remember being that girl. It's like, sit down and eat some eggs. Like sit down.
Yeah. Take a breath.
Because not eating at the sake of your baby, you need to eat some eggs and they need to eat some eggs. Sit down.
Everybody can eat eggs together.
Right.
You don't have to do the dishes while he's eating the eggs. Sit with him and eat the eggs.
And we get it. We know it's hard.
And that's another reason I want to have another baby too. It's just because like I would do things so differently now.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Like I just, the thing is we get older and we're supposed to gain wisdom. You either can or you don't. Either way. But like at the end of the day, I would rather gain wisdom and make my life better every single day.
Yeah.
And I think everybody should.
So real quick, you want to tell them the vitamins you take?
Oh gosh. Okay, let's go. I take hair and nail vitamins every day. That has collagen in it. I take zinc. I take vitamin C. I take turmeric. I take glucosamine. I take always protonics.
Vitamin D.
Vitamin D, D3 every day. I think that might be it. Maybe.
Magnesium for sleep.
Oh, every night magnesium.
Yeah, because that's big.
Oh, that changed my entire sleep world.
Yep.
I started that like 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, they stop taking melatonin, stop taking Tylenol PM, all that stuff. I also take magnesium at night. I also take a magnesium in the middle of the day. It's really good for anxiety and to calm you down. I take vitamin D. I take a supplement called Her Package by Heart and Soil. It's like got like ovary and fallopian tubes in it, all these good things women need. I take collagen. I actually do the powder though. I put it in my coffee in the morning. That's been a game changer for my skin, hair, and nails. Tesamorelin peptides, semaglutide, which I'm actually weaning off of right now. And I think that is it. Yeah, I try.
We take lots of vitamins.
We try to focus on vitamins and supplements as opposed to like, you know, like, yeah, we'll take a Motrin and Tylenol if we have a headache or whatever. But if you're staying hydrated, if you're, you know, going to your doctor.
Eating right, not eating too much sugar. Those are the things that cause you to have headaches and feel sluggish and all of those things.
And that's why I'm glad in the beginning we talked about unhealthy patterns, because like I still am like healing from unhealthy patterns, but I also know like I need high protein. I don't need a bunch of sugar, and I don't need a bunch of carbs.
Yes.
There's a difference in being unhealthy and not eating at all, and in going, okay, if I make this healthy choice, I'm going to feel better. So also like you can use guys ChatGPT to build a menu for you for free. You don't need a nutritionist anymore. You don't, you can go and like have all these things built for you on ChatGPT, and you know, your kids are watching you. Like Cece, my 5-year-old, like she has a skincare routine and she has a little vitamin regimen. She takes her D3 because kids need D3 significantly. Like they need that stuff. And so, yeah, like we're just big wellness girls out here in the world, and we hope that this helps you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we want you guys to feel just as good as we feel, you know, in every way, shape, and form. And if, you know, that means that you got to go get you a little pill separator or whatever and get some vitamins, and please do. Like whatever it takes for you.
Yeah, take the GLP-1 shot, get the peptides, get whatever is going to make you feel like yourself or bring you back. That's going to be key, because until you do that, you should not just be happy settling, and stop listening to people that are trying to gaslight you and be like, you're beautiful the way God made you. Get that, but respectfully, I'm suicidal. So it's like, get to where you know that you're meant to be. You deserve to thrive with your best friend and thrive and build the business. And that's what we want you guys to do. So
feel healthy, be healthy, look healthy, all the things.
Amen.
Feel good.
So
all right.
Gonna wrap it up.
Episode 9. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you next week on episode 10. Episode 10. I love the number 10. It's a good number.
Almost done.
We hope y'all have such a wonderful week.
Bye.
See you later.
Yes.